You know, I understand I'm playing in a snapshot, but there is absolutely no reason for any of this to be lit up right now. Like, there is no lights on the floor, there's no, like, hidden lights right now. This is just a massive bug. Anyways, hello, I'm Average Joe, and welcome back to me building a new workshop in the Minecraft snapshots. Currently we are on... Did I hit F3? I did, but I need to hit F1. We're in 19W0504B, and yeah, there's some lighting bugs. There's also a bug where you can kind of just wall run. So that's a thing. Anyways, you might be asking yourself, what is this giant room you've made, Joe? Or you might not be asking yourself that. I don't know, I can't read minds. Well, this is the room for the shuttle bay I decided to make next for this build. And, starting to wonder if I made it too big. Then again, thinking about it, probably not. I have a list of things I want to build for the shuttle bay. I want to make a door for shuttles to come in and out of the bay. I want to have an airlock for when people come in, because, you know, if there's no air when people leave. And I still don't know if I want to do the air thing. I kind of want to keep this build survival friendly, but there's some things I want to do that I won't be able to do in survival, like the teleporter and things. So maybe mostly survival friendly. The air thing is something that wouldn't be survival friendly, and I actually have yet to figure out if I want how I would do that. So if I want to do that. I also wanted to make shuttles, obviously, but in this corner right here, I want to build a little thing that you can put a shulker box in, if I can find one. Yes, you would just throw a shulker box into a hopper, and it would start using whatever's in that hopper to fuel the engines, because the tanks are actually right behind here. So that would be a pretty useful place for it to be. I was thinking of having the fuel... Yeah, see, they just spawn all over there. This is like legitimately lit up. It's not a visual bug or anything. It's annoying. Anyways, I figured it'd be kind of useful to have fuel intake here. I thought about having it outside, and I decided against that because I don't know what the outside of the ship is going to look like yet. And, well, it would be kind of weird if you kind of had to pull a giant spaceship up to like a gas station or whatever. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the fill a shulker box with fuel idea. Anyways, before we get started with any of the new stuff, I want to go over some old stuff, specifically the battery room. I'm not sure if I like this. Well, I do like this design. It's a lot better than what it was. But I don't know if this is what I want to go with. I think it's good enough for me right now, though. There are some changes, though. I made some changes to the light gray line below here, because, well, switching to battery power just always had everything being powered, even if there was nothing in the battery. And I needed to figure out how to do that, so I took a signal from the first thing, and as long as that has power and this is running, then everything is going to be powered. I needed to change some of the pistons, because having them be face up, like being right side up rather than upside down like they are now, was causing some problems. They weren't acting as switches, they were acting as monostable circuits, which is not something I wanted. And I think that's all? No, there was one other thing. I made the hopper clock in here shorter. So 2 hoppers rather than 4, because this was just taking forever to fill up, and now it's going a lot quicker. It will drain slower than it charges, but I think I am okay with that. It means better fuel efficiency, I guess. Okay, so ignoring the mobs over there, the first thing I wanted to do was build the shulker box thing for fueling the fuel tanks. So my idea was to have just a machine here you would throw a shulker box into. If you didn't know, if you have a dispenser, you can, let me just set up a demonstration here quick. If you have a dispenser, you can dispense shulker boxes using them. So that's a thing I'm going to use. I'm pretty sure you can pull a comparator signal from them as well when they're doing that. The real trick is going to be putting fuel into both tanks at once. I have an idea for that, and let me see if I can actually find where the tanks are. Here we go. So I'm not sure how well this would work. Actually, I don't think this idea would work at all. You can put a chest, a double chest, on top of 2 hoppers, and you can, they both take at once and start putting in evenly. But considering that they're going to be flowing one at a time, that might not work. What we might have to do is fill one tank first, and then fill the other one like we did for the battery, except a little different. So we would pretty much just be filling them up like, well, if this one's the main one, fill that one, let's see, so it would fill this one first, which means it would point in like that, and then the hoppers would just kind of go into here. Oops. Whoops. Alright. So that's probably how we're going to be doing that. Probably should find a way to cover that up at some point. So I think we're actually going to have an item elevator out in this space rather than in here. Just because I think trying to get the item elevator all the way up here in here might require taking out some of the roof. Right, so I'm going to take a minute or two to see if I can figure out a design for this, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is the general idea of how the fuel loader is going to work. I have some iron blocks in here to simulate fuel, because we all know that fuel for this spaceship is redstone. So the shulker box would be going in there, and I either press a button or I have it happen automatically. So the dispenser dispenses the shulker box, and as long as there's something in there, in the shulker box, that comparator will send a signal to that torch, turning it off, and deactivating the redstone above that, making the piston stay retracted. When the shulker box runs out of items, the comparator will turn off, the torch will turn on, and the piston will push the shulker box, just like that. There is something else that happens here, as you can probably tell, and I'll just fill this up and pick it up again to demonstrate. So the comparator here also sends a redstone signal out this way, which powers this hopper here, which means once the shulker box is out of items, instead of going to the tank, it will go a different way, which is kind of how we want it to happen. I do need to adjust the timings because, as you kind of saw, there were some iron blocks in here as well, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to see if a 3-tick redstone repeater will fix that. Just gotta wait for that to empty itself out. So it took me a while, but I finally got this thing to work. So you put a shulker box in the hopper and it'll put it in the dispenser. And when you press this button, it will unpower this torch, which will unpower this, which will make the piston retract. And at the same time, it will power this repeater, which goes to the dispenser and makes it dispense the shulker box. As long as the shulker box is there, the comparator will turn on if there's something in there, and it will power this hopper, which means that hopper won't be able to pull anything from the hopper above it. So all the items in the shulker box get flow this way to this hopper. And when this is empty, the comparator turns off, the redstone torch turns on, the piston pushes. Since there was no items in it, this hopper is now unpowered, meaning it can pull the shulker box from the hopper above it, separating the shulker box from its contents. I do want to run a test to see if I can do a shulker box that's completely full, but I'll do that off camera because that's a lot of stuff and it'll take a while to empty out. But yeah, that's the gist of it. After the items go through here, they'll get sent up an item elevator and start filling up the tanks. And then the shulker box is put into this chest at the front so you can get it back. Easy as pie. Of course, we might have to do an elevator up or down depending on how this is put into the wall, but we'll see. I'm gonna rebuild this there, and yeah, does interesting. I might look at ways to make this smaller while I'm working on that. See you in a little bit. I have no idea why, but for some reason, if I made it like this, the timing on the repeaters needs to be different than the ones on this one, for some reason. Anyways, this works. It'll empty the items out of the shulker box, put them into here, and then when it's done, the shulker box will push it and it'll go into here. I haven't hooked up the item elevator yet because all the shulker boxes in here have iron in them. In fact, I could probably take those out and not have to worry about them anymore. But still, that's a thing that's working now. I don't know why the timing on the repeaters needs to be different. And in fact, that fact is a little annoying, because I don't know what changed. Everything should be the same. But whatever. Okay, sure. After this is done, I still need to put like a little facade around it, the elevator in back, etc., etc. Next is an airlock for here. Because this is a spaceship, and this room specifically is a shuttle bay, then there needs to be a door made to keep... Oh, excuse me. There needs to be a door made to keep the air in the hallway and the vacuum of space in the shuttle bay. Granted, there's not really going to be any functional difference between the vacuum of space and the air in the hallway. But still, an airlock needs to go there. The one thing I'm really not looking forward to, though, is building the shuttle bay door. Because that needs to be a really big door, and I'm trying to keep everything survival friendly. And, I don't know how to make big doors, so that's going to be fun. So yeah, I'm going to build a facade here, and an elevator, and then I'm going to start working on the shuttle bay, not the shuttle bay doors, the airlock. The airlock. I have a couple things I want to do for the airlock as well, but I'll tell you that when I get to it. Well, the facade's up, and I have some unfortunate news. The airlock's not going to be the thing built next, it's the shuttle bay door that's going to be built next. Because the way I wanted it to be set up is if the shuttle bay door is open, the airlock will stay closed. So, yeah, that needs to be done next. This is about the size I want the door to be. I might take it one less on this wise, just to give me some more room up at the top, but I can work with this, I think, probably. And yeah, it's pretty much just gonna be a garage door, like it's here and then it goes up and into the ceiling a little bit. And then the shuttles can just leave through here. In fact, I'm planning to set it up so that shuttles can only leave when this is open. And that might sound confusing because how is a shuttle supposed to leave if it's not actually going to functionally do that? Well, I'll explain it when it comes to that. But before I get to that, there's one thing I kind of wanted to explain. You know how the only filter in the entire fuel system is on the engine? Well, the idea is, assume for a second that this world would have like some role-playing in it, and we got a shipment of fuel, and we check one box and it's all redstone, and we decide not to check all the other boxes. So we put all the other boxes in here, but not all the boxes have like pure redstone fuel in them. That would mean that's pretty much it. The fuel tanks would have a little bit of what's the word? Impurities in the fuel, and that would flow out into the engine. And this would be the point where we would find the impurities, etc., etc. Not anywhere else. Also, how is this going? Ah, good, we're on the second bar. 5 more to go. So, that's that idea. So, I'm going to take a minute to figure out how to do the door. And, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work out. Well, I made something that works. Let me tell you the story. of the half hour that I've just had. I was trying to figure out how to do like a regular piston door like the ones over here, except like really, really big. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out how to make that work. So I decided, what if I try making a flying machine? I can put an engine on one end and it can pull these little modules along. Well, after tinkering around with that for like 20 minutes, I accidentally make a door that is its own flying machine. And yeah, this is great and all, but it was also not intentional. I mean, yeah, it works. It's a door. Great. Why am I complaining? Well, I'm complaining because this happened on accident. I like doing things and then solving a problem because I know how to solve that problem. I don't particularly care for solving a problem on accident. Don't get me wrong, it's great that the problem is solved, it just kind of feels lacking, is all. Well, regardless, we now have a shuttle bay door, although we could probably use this place for cargo if we wanted to. Of course, the door is only 4 blocks tall, so any shuttle we make is going to have to be only 4 blocks tall, because any taller and this thing probably wouldn't be able to move. See, the largest section is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we can only add 1 more block to this, and making it 1 block taller adds 2 blocks to it, so that's not going to work. So this is the door. So we have a working shuttle bay door. We just need to, actually put some mechanisms in here to open and shut it. But I'm gonna say that's gonna come later. Much later. Or should it? Hold on a second. Okay. So, to make this door open, we power or unpower this hopper. To make this door close, we power or unpower this hopper. Okay. So, our open and closing mechanisms are going to have to run through these 2 blocks. That's fine. We just need a panel for opening and closing the door then. Where should we build a panel? Let's build one on this side. That way we have some room to move things. And instead of levers, let's just use buttons. And just have an opening and a closing button. So that should be easy. Next, we want to run these opening and closing buttons into some switches, just so that when the power is out, we can't do anything with the door. And we'll just leave these on temporarily. And once we decide what the color is for the shuttle bay, we'll run those in. Right, so on switch is going to be run through there. Let me see. There we go. Green is open, which is this one, I believe. So we just need to run a repeater into that block, pull the signal from here, so that's open. Close is the top block here, so we need to run a signal from here using pretty much the same setup, except we go up instead of down. And just put that there so I know where repeaters need to go. And close state. So let's just test this out on the inside. Green means open, and it doesn't open. Open is the one along the bottom, is it not? Okay. That's a problem, I guess. So that should be fine. Red button. And the door closes. That is actually all kinds of fun. Alright. So now comes another part we need to do. The airlock is only allowed to open when the door is closed, which means the airlock can only open after we hit the red button. Okay. So to do that, we can do a setup like this, where when we hit the red button, so when we hit the red button, the dispenser at the top ejects this item into the bottom one, and when we hit the green button, then the bottom dispenser ejects its item into the top. What's the combination of red and green? Brown? Figure it out later. Anyways, we can just take this signal now, whenever it's active, and output it somewhere. Easy as cake. Well, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I went ahead and I built the airlock off camera. I don't think you guys want to see me building that. But yeah, I'm trying to keep this video short, so I'm kind of out of time. So I might as well demonstrate this to you. With the open airlock, with the open shuttle door, this part of the airlock stays shut. It won't open from either side. This one will open, this one won't. So this one works because when the red button is pushed, this dropper puts this item down here, and it sends a signal all the way down here to the airlock door. So this is one half of an AND gate. The other half is actual like power coming from the door subsystem. So if doors have power and that door is shut, which it is not now, then this door will function. Otherwise, it will remain closed. I actually used the thing I tried the first time I tried making doors in this series, and I think this actually works pretty well. The only thing is, if there were a person standing on there when the door opened, perhaps, just give me a second. Okay, so the door is shut now. If there were a person standing on that as the shuttle door opened, then it would stay open until the person got to the other side, or no one was stepping on the pressure plates anymore, and that's just a consequence of the quasi-connectivity between these two objects, which might actually be easily fixed using some slabs. I am going to try that like really quick just to see if that actually works. I just thought about that now. Right, so close the door. Put item on there. Open door. Door is staying open. Alright, so that doesn't actually work. Good to know. Anyways, that's really all the time I have for this episode. No shuttles are going to be made today, mostly because the shuttles, I had planned for the shuttles to be an alternative way of getting off the ship to, again, predetermined locations. I just have to build them, and now, I was hoping they would only have to be like they would be able to be 5 blocks tall. But since the door can only be 4 blocks tall, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think 11. Yeah, 11, and 11 blocks wide. We can only have shuttles that are 4 blocks tall and 11 blocks wide. And I mean, they can be as long as we want, but I don't think we really want them to be very long. In fact, we might just be able to make a tube and get away with it. We'll see, we'll see. Anyways, as usual, if you have any suggestions, or you like the video, or you just want to say something, leave a comment. If you did like the video and you don't want to leave a comment, just leave a like. I am mucking up this outro. You know what? Have a good day. Do whatever you want. Be free. Don't let other people tell you what to do. Have a good day. Take care. See you next time. Bye. I should probably put a thing around the airlock, otherwise it won't actually work as an airlock.